Welcome to True Crime Chronicles. I'm Jessica Bell, and today we're exploring one of the most infamous serial killers in American history, Jeffrey Dahmer, a man whose crimes were so disturbing they shook the nation to its core. Imagine meeting someone at a bar, someone who seems quiet, maybe even a little awkward, but completely harmless. You have a few drinks, a casual conversation, and then you disappear, never to be seen again. This was the chilling reality for many of Jeffrey Dahmer's victims. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. From an early age, he exhibited disturbing behavior, collecting animal carcasses and displaying a growing fascination with death. Despite this, he seemed to blend into society, living an otherwise unremarkable life. His descent into darkness began in 1978, just after graduating high school. That summer, he committed his first murder, 18-year-old hitchhiker Stephen Hicks. Dahmer lured Hicks to his home under the pretense of drinking together. When Hicks attempted to leave, Dahmer bludgeoned him with a dumbbell, strangled him, and later disposed of his remains. This would mark the beginning of a horrifying killing spree that lasted over a decade. Between 1978 and 1991, Dahmer murdered at least 17 young men, many of whom were lured from bars and nightclubs. His method was chillingly calculated. He drugged his victims, strangled them, and then committed unspeakable acts with their bodies. His fascination with control and possession led him to experiment with keeping victims in a zombie-like state, drilling holes into their skulls and injecting acid in an attempt to make them permanent, compliant companions. Dahmer's gruesome secrets came to light on July 22, 1991. That night, a man named Tracy Edwards managed to escape from Dahmer's apartment and flag down police. When officers arrived at his residence, they were unprepared for what they found. Inside, they discovered Polaroids of dismembered bodies, severed heads in the refrigerator, and human remains inside cooking pots. The true extent of his depravity was finally exposed. Dahmer was arrested and charged with 16 counts of murder. His trial was one of the most shocking in U.S. history, as gruesome details of his crimes were revealed. Despite attempts by his defense to argue insanity, Dahmer was found legally sane and sentenced to 16 life terms, more than 900 years in prison. In a bizarre turn of events, Dahmer expressed remorse for his actions, stating that he wished for his own death. His wish was granted on November 28, 1994, when he was beaten to death by a fellow inmate at the Columbia Correctional Institution. Jeffrey Dahmer's story is one of horror and inhumanity, a case that reminds us of the darkness that can hide behind an ordinary face. How many times did his neighbors unknowingly walk past his apartment, unaware of the horrors inside? This has been True Crime Chronicles. I'm Jessica Bell, reminding you to stay safe and vigilant. Join us next week as we dive into another shocking true crime case. Until then, remember, sometimes the most terrifying monsters are the ones who look just like us.